Hey everyone, it's Mary coming at you today from Poland. My husband and I recently took a drive to the Russian border, dun dun dun, yes, the Russian border, to find out where the bochong live. And bochong is Polish for storks. For those of you that don't know, that's where babies come from. And I'll tell you about the legend of the storks in just a little bit. But this drive took us almost 5 hours through the Polish countryside, which is amazingly beautiful. Poles love to get their hands dirty. There are farms everywhere where there are animals, produce, fruit. You go through these miles and miles, or I should say kilometers and kilometers of apple orchards, cherry orchards, red paprika or red peppers, kale, spinach. Like, there's just fruit and vegetables everywhere along the way. It's a beautiful ride in the Polish countryside, and then you get to stop in the small villages along the way and get a real taste for what Poland is really like. So on our 5-hour trip up to the Russian border to this small village called Zywkowo, the reason that I was on such a hunt for this place is to find out, where do babies come from? Like, I want to know the real answer. In this town of Zywkowo, up on the Russian border, the storks migrate there, and there are 43 stork mates, and their nests range from 5 to 6 feet in diameter. These are like bird condos. Seriously, they keep building. Every year they come back to the same nest and they keep building and modifying it for the new brood. They have one litter, I'm not sure what they're called, a brood every year, which is they have about 4 babies each pair, and they create, and storks, they're big, like their wingspan alone is like 5 feet. So these are not small birds. So they have these big, huge homes in trees, on the tops of people's homes, and imagine the weight of something, of a structure that is 5 to 6 feet that's on your roof. So in many of the houses, they actually have to add additional support because these birds are very cherished. It means that the soil is clear, the land is clear of pesticides. It's kind of like a blessing on your home to have a stork there. So you never want to get rid of a stork. You want to support the stork that comes to your home. And these stork families have, as I said, have around 4 babies. In this town, or village I should say, there are 43 stork parents, mates I should say, that have about 4 babies. So there are about 200 storks that live in this village, and there are 25 humans. Yeah. So the cool thing was, like, we drove there and we're looking for a place to park the car just to walk around, because you just see storks everywhere. And I saw an elderly woman. I say elderly, older than me, even though I have gray hair. It's old. She was older than me, and she was picking leaves off a tree. And I don't speak Polish, so I lose a lot in translation. But I couldn't help but ask her what she was doing. And when you go to places like these small villages of 25 people up on the Russian border, most likely you're not going to run into people that speak English. So as I went up to her, I pointed to the tree and to her hand and said, like, what are you doing? And my husband came, who speaks Polish, and asked her, please, what are you doing? And she said, this is a certain kind of tree, and she was picking the leaves off the tree to make her afternoon tea with. So when I say that Poles are naturally love to get their hands dirty, they are the keepers of the earth. It's kind of like the Native American Indians, where it just comes from that wanting, that knowing that Mother Nature has provided us with such bounty, that they know all of these herbal remedies and what each berry or herb in the ground will do for you and can do for you and provide for your body. So it's always an interesting conversation. But this woman went on to tell us that she and her family were born and brought up on the eastern Polish border, the border with Ukraine. And during World War II, the whole family, during ethnic cleansing, this is what happens when people think that they're better than one another, or those prejudices that are so ugly just creep up and take over. But this ethnic cleansing was, they took this town, these people, and transported them only with the clothes that they had on their back and a suitcase. They transported these people to this plot of land on the Russian border in this small village called Zywkowo, and left them there. And it was kind of like, you need to figure it out, and you need to figure out if you're going to survive or not, because we really don't care if you survive or not, but we're moving you, and here you go. We didn't execute you, we executed everybody else, but we decided not to execute you, and here you go. Aren't we nice? But this woman told us this dramatic story of the loss that she experienced of her other family members, and of the family members that were brought with her to this small village, and how now they are the caretakers of the Bochong. There actually is a foundation that takes care or monitors the Bochong to make sure that they remain healthy, to study them, to find out where they go, where they migrate, because they leave every August. They arrive in mid-April, I think sometimes mid-March, depending on the weather. They go back to their nest, they set up home, they have their babies in the spring, and they nurture their babies, and then in August, everybody flies away down to Africa, actually, flies all the way to Africa and stays there. And the reason that storks bring babies is because they're gone for 9 months. And so the legend came about that when the storks came, so didn't the babies. Whoops! Mommy has a baby. So that's where the story of the storks bringing the babies come from. I love legends like that, and it's really cool to be around people that are nurturing these birds. And this foundation takes care of these birds, and actually has been doing a fundraising to create support on the barn structure to hold up all of these nests that they have on the barns because of the weight of the nests. After our tour of the Zywkowo village, we met up with the little old lady farmer, her daughter and husband, who are also farmers of this land, who make rose hip jam. I will tell you, I've never tasted anything so luscious in all my life as rose hip jam. The smell of it, I felt like I was eating a rose. It was incredible. But to put it on a nice freshly baked baguette with some butter on it, I will tell you, with a nice hot fresh cup of tea from the leaves that have been picked off the tree just now, was an incredible treat. And of course, they were beekeepers, so we were able to get some fresh honey that was collected that day, as well as that morning's fresh cheese. Because of the cows that they have, the farmer's wife makes a fresh batch of cheese every single day, which is this wonderful farmer's cheese, again, that you spread on bread or toast or crackers. That is just amazingly delicious. So even though I'm not able to communicate in conversation with the people that we meet along the way in these villages, thank goodness for my husband and being my translator, we certainly do get into some wonderful and deep conversations about the tragedies that Poland has gone through, about the perseverance of the people that live here, about their heart, how hospitable and how open they are considering the devastating history that this country has endured. I so enjoy traveling around the Polish countryside and learning about what it takes to be a survivor, what it takes to live in fear and just break through it and do it anyway. It's an amazing place to be, and it's an amazing place to visit. I hope you'll come soon. Ciao.